Hey, welcome back to startaraingutterbusiness.com. Dave here. I'm your marketing and sales specialist, and so glad you're here on the channel. Today, we're going to go through 3 things that you can do in your business to help you cruise through an inflationary period. Just like Neil said, our accountant, he said, you've got to learn how to cut your expenses. And this is one of the main ways that you can stay afloat in an inflationary time, is just by going through all of your list of all the things that you spent money on last month and take a look at each item and ask yourself, was that absolutely necessary to spend last month? And if it wasn't, don't do it again this month. Take that, start cutting those things right out of your budgets. So managing your expenses is so critical for you to do that in order to go through and sail through an inflationary time. And here's what happens is a couple of things. One is it helps you in your discipline with your business. And so you become like a lean, mean fighting machine, and you can barrel through those hard times. But if you're out just frivolously spending money, then it's not going to work. You're not going to be in a good place. And the other thing that besides adding discipline, is the other thing it adds or does to you is it adds cash to your bank account. And so having cash available when things fall down is so important. So cutting your expenses is the number one thing that you can do. And the best way to do that is just to look back over the last month, 2 months, 3 months or so, and just say to yourself, look through everything. I mean, look through every check, every debit, everything that you spent, every dollar that you spent, and ask yourself that question: did I need to spend this money? And could I have put that aside into a place that will help me get through hard times instead? But that's the number one thing you got to do. Second thing you've got to do to make your business fly through an inflationary time is to manage your accounts receivable. And that's just like who owes you money and how long are they out for. Just the other day, our business, our gutter business is just growing like crazy, 50% every year. It's just nuts. And just the other day, Josh and I were looking through our accounts receivable, and the total money that people owed us not too long ago was like the total amount of money we made in 1 year. So it's crazy how fast that stuff will add up. And if you don't watch your accounts receivable, it'll nab you, man, because our accountant Neil, here's what he told us. He said what'll happen in an inflationary time is your 30-day receivables will turn into 60 days, and your 60 days will turn into 90s, and your 90 days will turn into never. And so you've got to manage those receivables. And here's a couple things you can do right at the front end of your sales process. During the sales process, we always plug in a little thing with our customers that says, here's what we expect. And usually it's we ask for a 50% deposit before we start the job, and then the balance is due on completion. And then write in another thing that you can do right on your estimate. Just put in there that if they go over 30 days, you're going to start adding fees and interest. And you might run that by an attorney and have them make sure that that's kind of legal stuff. So make sure that that's dialed in. And then another thing that you need to do is you just need to monitor every couple weeks. You need to look through all the money that people owe you and then start making phone calls. And our philosophy with collections is we kill them with kindness. And so what we do is we get somebody that's 60 days old, and we get on the phone almost every day, and we say, hey, how's it going? I hope those gutters look really good, and just checking to see if we pick up a check from you. And then the next day I call them up, and I say, hey, how's it going? And just being really positive, and pretty soon they just get sick of that constant dripping noise from you, and they just write you a check. So there's three things you can do. Just make sure you have at the outset of your contract or the beginning of the sales process, let them know what you expect. And then always be checking on your receivables every couple weeks and get that dialed in. Don't let stuff go over 90 days. And we haven't started on this, and this is probably not advisable, but we haven't started with a collection company because we haven't really had that much of a problem, and it seems kind of jerky to do that. So, but you might want to just implement a policy and say, hey, after 60 or 70 or 80, whatever you want to choose, days, you're sending them to collections. And if you want to be hard-nosed about it, just do that. And that's not uncommon. So, but that's the next thing you got to do. Is the second thing is keep your receivables as tight as possible. And what that does is it frees up cash. It sticks cash in your bank instead of cash in your customer's checking account. So get your receivables tight. The third thing you need to do to inflation-proof your business has to do with you as a person, and it's called managing your fear. And this is 2022. Everybody is freaked out about inflation and the market crashing and businesses blowing up. And there's some real substantial things that you need to pay attention to there. But most of that stuff is not going to happen. And I really like this acronym I heard one time about what fear is, and it's fear stands for false evidence appearing real. And so you really need to weed through the things that you're fearing and really examine that. Is this really like 100% deal? Is the economy really going to fall apart? Is the United States going to pot? Is it really that bad? And typically the answer is no. So it's really important for you to just step back during times of crisis and inflation and really manage your fear. Examine, ask yourself what's true, what's 100%, and what's maybe, and what's probably not. And I think you'll figure out that a lot of it lands into the probably not category. But the flip side of that is, of course, you need to be careful. You need to do those things that we've talked about in this previous part of this video. But managing fear is so critical to the success of your business in an inflationary time. So if you want to make it through an inflationary period or any kind of a dip in the cycle, these are the three things you got to do. You've got to cut your expenses, make sure you're bare bones, and that you're sticking that extra money in the bank and in some kind of investment. Get your receivables tight. Don't let those things get out farther than 30, 40, 50, 60 days. And then the last thing is managing your fears. And if you do those three things, you're going to be able to cruise through these hard times, all right? So, hey, if you want to do like a deeper dive into all this stuff, we have this great course, 21 Days to Start a Rain Gutter Business. It's a great course. We're really excited about it. And if you like the information you got here today, like, subscribe. Thanks for watching.